Hey, Gateway, this is Pastor Jason Crabtree. Welcome to Gateway Midweek. We're so excited that you've invited us into your home. And this week we have some very, very special guests. These are individuals that are part of our high school ministry. Hey, why don't you quickly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about maybe what school you go to and how old you are.
My name is Addie Reardon. I am a freshman at University Prep High School.
How old are you?
My name is Traeger.
Oh, 14, sorry.
14. Cool.
Oh, and mine.
Oh, you're there. You're back. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name is Okay. My name is Samantha Traeger. I am 18. I go to Mount Whitney, and I'm a senior.
Awesome. Cool. And then Nathaniel is, he's been around Gateway for a little while. But Nathaniel, for those of people who may not know, why don't you introduce yourself and just kind of what you do here at Gateway Church?
Yeah, so like Jason said, I'm Nathaniel Serrato. I've been attending / volunteering at Gateway for about 3 years-ish now, but now I'm the high school director. So I get paid to just have fun with all the high school students and to just act like a child with them and just build relationships. So I probably have the best job in the entire world. So
nice. But these are not children. These are young adults that are making a difference in the world. And so hey, before we kind of jump into the questions, maybe you're new, maybe you're watching this for the first time. So just to let you know, I'm Pastor Jason. I'm the Connections Pastor here at Gateway Church. And each week we dive into things, and we always look through the lens of invite, connect, develop, and serve. And so each one of these students are a part of that process of inviting and connecting, and they're developed in their walk with the Lord, especially over the last year, and they serve at Gateway, and so it's awesome to have them as a part of our Gateway Midweek. And so we're going to jump into some questions here, and we'll start with you, Addie. Over these last 8, 9, 10, I think we're almost going on a year now of being here in this COVID time and this pandemic. And so there's been a lot of time of being able to just, free time to reflect and kind of look at how you're processing through things. And so how would you say that you've become a better individual over the last 12 months?
Okay. I think definitely I think we've all become more patient. It's been a long, like you said, 11 or 12 months. So definitely patience. I think I've also improved in the sense that I've branched out in so many ways that I really wanted to have had we not had this opportunity and quarantine hadn't happened. I started picking up the guitar again, and I ended up joining the youth worship band, and that was something I probably would have never done if it was a normal year, just whether I didn't even think about doing it, or if I just was too busy or any of those things. And that's something that I've become closer to so many people in the youth group and God, and a lot of great things come out of it. And then more than that, I've just become closer to so many new people that, again, I probably wouldn't have otherwise, whether that was over school Zooms or new activities that I've tried, even family members that don't live here, and it's getting more used to FaceTimes and Zooms and stuff like that. And then I think my attitude towards how I look at things when trials come up, and how I treat that, my outlook on that. So I think it's been definitely a good opportunity for a lot of those things.
Cool. That's great. That's great to hear. What about you, Samantha? How have you grown over the last year?
I feel like just in general, I've had to learn how to adapt more easily to how things are going to work, and realize that, no, I'm not in charge of everything that I thought I was. And I had to really let go of that, which was very difficult for me. And like Addie said, because of all of the different precautions and not being able to do so much during this time, I've really gotten deeper into my relationship with God and with the people around me, and especially with the youth group. I feel like I've gotten so much closer to them over this time.
That's great. I love the internet. This is so great. And so it start and stop, and it part of, all part of what we've experienced over the last, year is the uncertainty of life and the uncertainty of internet connection. And so that's been, so that's great. That's awesome to think about. You were talking about, the fact of understanding that, hey, I'm not in control of things. I think that's a huge lesson. I mean, here I am, in my mid-20s, and just really, thinking about how many, it's taken me this long to realize that I'm not in control. And so hopefully you caught that joke, mid-20s. Yeah. So anyways, so, hey, so this is something you have grown and have become a better individual over the past 12 months. And so the next question I have is, what has been difficult for you over the last 12 months?
So I think the most difficult part of 2020 for me was starting in just the earlier months, having a good attitude and keeping up motivation to just do things that I love and stuff that maybe I don't love. And I just felt like, especially in the beginning, I was so angry that I had lost my 8th grade year and that I was going to start high school over Zoom, and all these disappointments kept coming up, and it just made you feel worse and worse. And it made it hard to have a good mindset and stay motivated and keep looking at all the good things in your life. And then, like most people in general, and most people my age, I also had trouble staying connected with others, just kind of feeling feeling alone. And it's just hard to really have a true connection and conversation over Zoom or FaceTime or messaging or whatever. So.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Samantha? What's been difficult?
I think the most difficult part was I had hip surgery in April, pretty much a month right after all this happened. And it was a major thing for me because I dance. So that's my outlet. So not being able to dance and also not being around my friends made it really difficult for me to not let myself sink into basically a pity party for myself. Mm-hmm. So I really had to fight to not just basically spiral completely out of control. Yeah. And then in the end of the year, when my great grandma passed away, it was very difficult. But I think everything is in God's plan and it's for a reason. So even though bad things happen, I feel like I definitely got something out of all of it.
Yeah, I think that's so key what you said about that spiral out of control. It's so easy to let things, one negative thing and then another negative thing, and you're experiencing loss, you're experiencing, like you said, these things that you love and you're passionate about, and not being able to do that, starting in your freshman year, and you have there's all the anticipation for that, and then not to do it online, right? So these things are definitely, they're difficult, but I love that fact of recognizing where you're at, stopping the spiral, right? And then changing your perspective. I think those are great words of wisdom, even, that I think all of us need to hear. Well, what about you, Nathaniel? I mean, here you are, you're stepping into this role, and, you're not being able to go on campus. You're not being able to do these things. What's been difficult for you over the last 12 months?
Oh my goodness. There has just been so much transition in my life during COVID. I was with Youth for Christ at the start of it. I ended up losing that job for a little bit and was just stressing out, trying to find another means of just supporting myself and my family. And then all of a sudden, especially when the pandemic started, I was working about 5 hours a week with Gateway Youth. And I was just kind of starting to step in, starting to kind of learn the names of the students. And then all of a sudden I had no access to seeing them or meeting them. And then I remember the first thing we did was we put on a Friday night game night, probably 10-ish students hopped on, and I had no idea who any of them were. And so it was just talking to them over this voice chat. So just kind of dealing with all that, and then slowly transitioning out of Youth for Christ, into Gateway full-time and stuff. So yeah, honestly, that's been the toughest part, is just having to to roll with the punches and just, just accept anything that comes my way, even though I very much dislike change. And I feel like my screen just got much bluer for some reason.
Yeah, I think maybe your camera's adjusting. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So
maybe we're talking about it, and you're just, the whole video is getting depressed, right? It's just turning blue. That's great. And so, I think, like you said, I mean, there's these certain things that we're used to in ways of connecting and ways of living. And all of a sudden, when those things go away, it's like, what do you do? How do you adjust? Because we need connection, right? We need to be able to move forward. And so I think you guys have adjusted well, as far as with the youth group and going from Zoom and now, meeting outdoors, on Sundays, I believe at 3:00, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll get an opportunity before we jump off of here to promote things that are going on and how students can get plugged in. And so the fact that I know in my house, we've experienced the fact that we're, the smallest things that we get to do outdoors become like huge adventures, right? Like little mini vacations. And so in that is the fact of like, hey, we're not cooking tonight. We're going out to eat. We're going to jump at some fast foods. So the question I have for you is, what is the best fast food restaurant and why is it the best?
It's Chick-fil-A, without a doubt. And it makes it even more special because we don't have any here. So it's like wherever you go, and it's like, whoa, there's a Chick-fil-A near us. And it just like makes the experience that much better. And the food is just so good. There's so much of a variety. Like Chick-fil-A is just hands down the best. There's no argument. It's
nice.
I'm so proud of you, Addie.
Yeah.
Yep.
She said Chick-fil-A just in case.
She said Chick-fil-A. Yeah, it was the audio kind of went out there for a second. And so you said Chick-fil-A is the best. We had a junior hire said the same thing. What about you, Samantha? Favorite fast food and why is it the best?
My favorite has to be Chipotle. I don't know if you guys count that as fast food, but I do. And it's because I really like Mexican food, and I feel like you can't really get like good Mexican food quickly. So it's like that's as close as you can get.
Nice. I had Chipotle today for lunch. So yeah, huge Chipotle. I love Chipotle. So what about you, Nathaniel? What's and you can't say Chick-fil-A, but that's already been chosen. Favorite fast food? Fast food and why?
I feel like it's kind of like Chipotle in a sense where it's not really fast food, but it gets served pretty quickly. Gumbo Chinese Kitchen. It's right next to Home Goods, I think. Kind of right in that area next to, I'm forgetting all the places right next to it. Pyology is right next to it. But I always get their orange chicken and their fried rice. Their fried rice is so simple, yet it's just so delicious. And so I've been all about gumbo right now. So
nice. I think gumbo used to be on Main Street, across from where the Starbucks is at. I think that's where it used to be. And so, but that was a long time ago. And so that's great. That's great. I think those are great. Chick-fil-A, gumbo, and I would totally agree Chipotle. That's probably on my top of my list. And so, hey, what are you looking forward to in 2021 in this next year? What are you looking forward to the most?
I think like anyone, I mean, we're starting to see the vaccines come out and things are slowly but surely starting to open up again. And even if they don't really, I think I'm in a pretty good place right now. And then that's not bad at all. So, I mean, if it stays the same, then no harm done. If it gets better, then that's awesome. And then in the event that schools open back up and extracurriculars can happen again, that's also something that would really excite me. And I would love to just go back in person and be able to do all the things.
Nice. What about you, Samantha? What are you looking forward to in this year?
Mostly graduating.
Yes.
I am very ready to be done with school and move to the next chapter of my life and see where that's going to go. But I have high hopes.
That's good. That's great. What about you, Nathaniel? What are you looking forward to in the next year?
Honestly, just seeing the future of Gateway Youth, because, I've now stepped into this role full time, and I feel like things have just been going just awesome. I'm going to be going to camp with the students for the first time this summer. So there's just going to be a lot of firsts, and I'm just so excited to see what God does with this youth group and how he uses me, how he uses the students to even, change my life and affect me. So we're just really excited for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, we talked about today, in staff about going to Hume Lake for the first time. And so I'm excited. I'm hoping that happens and students are able to come together, and what a great way to kind of launch and be a part of things that are happening in this new year. And so, hey, before we jump into the last question, I want to give you an opportunity to ask us any question that you would like to ask. And so I don't know if there's something that you've been dying to ask us. If not, that's totally cool. And I dodged a total bullet. I don't have to answer anything that maybe I don't have an answer to. But do you have any questions at all? The fact that me and Nathaniel are here, here's an opportunity to take advantage of that.
I don't think I have anything. It's
cool. Awesome. Well, I'll ask you, what's that?
I said, I think I'm all good.
You're all good. Well, awesome. Well, hey, we don't have to answer any tough questions. That's great. That's great. Let me ask you this, Nathaniel. You're married. Your wife, her name is
Jamie.
She is a junior high teacher, and so she's the other part, or the better part of your ministry, right? And what you do. And so, we got Valentine's, coming up. Let me ask you this question. How have you surprised her in the past on Valentine's? Like, what's something that
Oh man. Really... I feel like this is one of the things we just wholly agree on. We've never really cared for Valentine's Day. We don't really do anything special or anything. But oh man, I'm trying to think. And this is bad. So my memory is terrible. So this is really putting me on the spot, but I can't remember if it was Valentine's Day or her birthday, which are two very different days. But I know at one point we drove up to, so this was back at our university. We drove to this kind of area in one of the parking lots, and we just looked at the stars after dinner and stuff. And then she gave me this really nice watch, and then I pretty much surprised her with, we're going to start saving because she's always wanted to go to Switzerland. So then I said, we're going to start saving up so we can go to Switzerland. Don't ask me if we've gone to Switzerland yet. So that's very expensive, and on our budgets, it's not quite working. But I know that was kind of the probably the most special moment we shared on Valentine's Day specifically.
Awesome. So. Well, cool. Well, you heard it here first, Gateway. Let's get this couple to Switzerland, and maybe on a mission trip or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, hey, for our last question, which I think is probably one of the most important questions that we can ask, is how can we as a church be praying for you, as for yourself, and also for maybe some of your friends? How can we be praying for you and supporting you in that way?
I think that for myself, my friends, my family, and then everyone around us, is that we all just kind of keep up our good attitudes and keep staying motivated and just keep plugging through and seeing the good and seeing all the great ways that God's working in our lives. And even if that's hard to see sometimes, there's always something. It's just about keeping that good attitude and really saying there's so many other things that I could not have right now, and really just showing how fortunate you are. And ultimately just putting your trust in God. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So what else can we be praying for? Samantha, is there any request that come to mind?
I think mainly just guidance for the future. For like, I know my friends are trying to figure out what they're going to do in the next coming years, for whether it's college or like just in general, like guidance on what they're supposed to do, like what they're going to be called for. And I feel like I definitely have been noticing a lot more of a calling in my life, which I'm excited about. And just like guidance through it, basically.
Great. Yeah, those are huge things. I mean, I thinking about, obviously praying for friends and family. But like you said, Samantha, just, there's so many students out there that are stepping into these new areas of life. And in the middle of a pandemic, it's like, what do I do? What is it going to look like? Because again, this is all new for so many of us. And so I think that's a great reminder, church, is to be praying for these students as they're entering into these new phases of life. And how do they navigate through that? And so these are amazing things that we can be praying for. And like you said, I think it's so important, Addie, just talking about having that great attitude, right? Like no matter what, of keeping our eyes on Christ and moving forward. And so I think those are great things to pray about. What about you, Nathaniel? How can we be praying maybe for the youth group in general and the students that you interact with each week?
Yeah, so I would say the biggest thing is just keep praying for unity, for just this idea of fellowship. One just amazing thing, man, my screen keeps changing to that depressing blue.
It's all good.
One cool thing that I've been seeing the past few weeks is we've been having quite a few new students come to youth, and I've just been seeing just current students like Sam, like Addie, they just accept these new students, just bring them a part of the group. They just say, hey dude, what's your name? What school do you go to? Hey, tell us about yourself. And it's because of this that these new students want to get connected in youth small groups. They want to get more involved in youth, and it's just been amazing seeing that. And I feel like that's a perfect model for just what this generation can do and what this world desperately needs right now. So just continue prayer for just unity and fellowship. That's great.
Yeah, it's been exciting to hear about what God is doing in the youth group and each week how new students show up. And so I think that's a great transition. Nathaniel, why don't you tell us just how, if a student is watching this video, or maybe a parent or a relative of a student, what do we have going on? How do students get plugged in? And I know we have an event coming up soon. Maybe share a little bit of details on how to get plugged in and connected to high school ministry.
Yeah, so we have Gateway Youth pretty much every Sunday at 3 p.m. If we ever have to cancel, or if there's ever a time we don't have youth, we try and do our best to advertise it a couple weeks out. But for the most part, youth group every Sunday at 3 p.m. outdoor, just to be COVID safe. We have an event coming up on February 12th. We're calling it Coffee Shop Vibe, so it's going to be a night. We're going to have some high schoolers play some live music for us. We're going to have coffee, hot chocolate, tea. We're going to be doing a lot of trivia, so we're going to have some good prizes and stuff. So hopefully it could just be a nice, just chill event where the students can come, just hang out, get to know one another, and just relax. I want to say that's the start of a 4-day weekend or something like that. So something like that. So yeah, we have that event there. And for anyone who has ever been interested in any adults, I should say, if you've ever been interested or you feel like the Lord's put it on your heart, we're always looking for volunteers. We definitely need more and more adults and just mentors coming in, just pouring into these wonderful students like Sam and Addie. So we can always use your help. And so that's pretty much it.
That's great. That's youth director, youth pastor 101. When you have the microphone, when you have the video, always ask for volunteers. I love it. And so yeah. And what I love is that, both these students here, they're plugged in, they're serving with worship, they're serving here at the church. And so, man, what a great example. And so, hey, thank you so much. Hey, we did it. This wasn't that bad, right? You get on here, we did this. And so you guys are awesome. And so I appreciate your heart. I appreciate you sharing. Gateway, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Continue to pray for these students. Pray for opportunities to serve, to support, and just continue to think about these students as they navigate through life. And I would say, things are looking good because these are amazing students. The church is super proud of you girls, and you just, continue to push forward, continue to dream big dreams, and do amazing things for God, because He has a plan for for both of your lives. And it's exciting to see what God is doing and hear about what God is doing. And so thank you for taking your time out of your schedule and joining us tonight. And so again, Gateway, we'll continue to connect with you because that is what we do. Thank you for joining us tonight. Nathaniel, thank you for inviting these students, for telling us a little bit about what's happening in high school ministry. And so, hey, have a blessed week, Gateway, and we'll continue to connect with you. God bless.